Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at Austin, Texas this June. Something pretty big could be happening in transportation.
hmm
Tesla's planning to launch its Robotaxi service, and they're going head-to-head with Uber, who, interestingly, is partnered up with Waymo.
Yeah, this feels like more than just another ride service launching. It's potentially a real turning point.
Exactly. That's what we want to unpack today. Our mission really is to get a clearer picture of this whole Tesla versus Uber thing in the robotaxi world. We've been digging into a recent YouTube discussion, looking at, CNBC reports, company earnings calls, social media chatter, the usual suspects.
Right, trying to pull together the main arguments from all those different places to give you a solid handle on what's going on.
For sure. And some really interesting points are coming up. Like, first, this argument, you hear some analysts are saying Tesla doesn't really have an edge here, that robo-taxis will just become a commodity.
Yeah, that's the one perspective.
Then there's this other wrinkle. Code found in the Tesla app update hinting they might launch a ride service with actual human drivers, like competing directly with Uber and Lyft.
That one sparked a lot of talk for sure.
And finally, the news that Tesla's trademark applications for Robotaxi and CyberCab got rejected. So yeah, quite a bit to get our heads around today.
Definitely. So let's start with that first point, the idea that Tesla has no real advantage. We saw this in some CNBC analysis. People like Gary Black mentioned it. The core thinking is, look, lots of car companies are going to have robotaxi soon.
Okay, so the argument is it becomes commoditized. Like everyone will have one, so what's special about Teslas?
That's the gist. And, Uber's CEO, Dara Khosrowshahi, he really leaned into this on their last earnings call.
Oh yeah, what was his take?
His message was basically, Uber is the platform. They'll integrate autonomous vehicles from whoever makes them. Look at their Waymo partnership, the new Toyota deal.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So they want to be the marketplace, the app you open, regardless of whose car shows up?
Precisely. They're betting on being the aggregator. And they already have, about 100 Waymo robotaxis running in Austin right now?
100 cars on the ground. That's not nothing. It's a real presence.
It is. And you can't ignore their user base. They mentioned something like 170 million monthly active platform consumers, MAPCs they call them.
Wow, 170 million. That's a massive built-in audience.
Huge. So for Uber, the strength isn't necessarily owning the tech itself. It's owning the network, the customer relationship. That's their moat, they hope. Convenience and access beat proprietary tech.
Okay, I see the logic there. Strong argument for Uber leveraging what they already have.
Yeah.
But then you hear the Tesla side. And that argument really drills down into the costs, the tech inside their planned CyberCab. This is where it gets fascinating.
It really does. Because the core of Tesla's potential advantage, according to this view, comes down to cost. A big cost.
How big are we talking?
Well, estimates for Waymo's vehicles, the base car, plus all the gear, put it somewhere north of $70,000, maybe quite a bit more. Whereas a projection for Tesla's purpose-built CyberCab is, maybe around $25,000.
Wait, 70,000 versus 25,000? That's potentially less than half?
Exactly. If those projections are anywhere close to reality, it completely changes the economics of running a ride service. It's not just about the tech, it's about making it affordable at scale.
And that leads right into scalability, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Waymo's building a factory, yes. But they're talking about maybe 2,000 vehicles next year. Tesla. They can churn out thousands of cars already very quickly. Their manufacturing capacity is just on a different level right now.
So faster deployment, potentially. And it's not just the sticker price of the car, right? The tech approach is different, too. You mentioned Tesla's own AI chips. AI4 now, AI5 coming.
Right. They design their own silicon specifically for their driving software. That's different from companies like Waymo, Aurora, Zoox. They often rely more on, say, powerful NVIDIA hardware, often paired with LiDAR systems.
LiDAR. That's the laser sensor thing some other companies use, but Tesla doesn't primarily. They're more camera-based.
Primarily vision, yes, with radar. LiDAR uses lasers to build a 3D point map. Tesla's approach processes camera feeds using their custom AI chips. The argument is that Tesla's integrated system could be much cheaper to run, lower compute cost, less power needed compared to systems heavily reliant on LiDAR and off-the-shelf powerful GPUs.
Okay, so potentially cheaper to build and cheaper to operate per mile because of their specific tech choices.
That's the thesis. Lower capital costs for the car, lower operating costs. You combine those, and the estimate is Tesla's cost per mile could be maybe 30–40% lower than competitors.
Which means they could offer rides much cheaper.
Potentially, yes. That's the disruptive potential.
And didn't someone mention their charging network too? Superchargers?
Good point. Having their own extensive growing charging network is another big logistical plus for managing a large electric robotaxi fleet efficiently. Less reliance on others, more control.
Okay, but what about the argument that software is easy to copy? If Uber's the platform, couldn't they just integrate whoever catches up on the software side?
Well, the counter to that is it's not just about the code itself. Developing robust self-driving AI takes tons of real-world data, like unbelievable amounts.
Right.
And specialized AI models, constant training. Tesla's fleet has been collecting data from millions of cars, billions of miles for years. That's a data advantage that's really, really hard to replicate quickly. Think of it as practice. Their AI has just seen so much more.
Okay, so data is a key part of their potential moat, too. Got it. So, yeah, two very different paths colliding. Uber, the platform, Tesla, the integrated maker-operator with potential cost and tech advantages. Now, let's switch to that other interesting bit, this Project Alicorn in the app update. Tesla starting an Uber-like service with human drivers. What's that about? It seems odd.
It definitely raised eyebrows. Seeing code related to ride-hailing, especially a call driver button, it led to speculation. Could Tesla launch a human-driven service first, maybe using FSD, before the robotaxis are fully ready?
I mean, maybe as a bridge. But wouldn't that kind of dilute their whole full autonomy message?
That's the main criticism, yeah. It could confuse the brand image they built around being the leader in autonomy. Plus, the economics are tough. If you still have a human driver, how do you compete on price with Uber and Lyft, who are already established? The driver cost is still the biggest chunk.
Right, the price wouldn't necessarily be lower, so if it's maybe not that, what else could call driver mean in an autonomous context?
The other interpretation, which frankly seems more likely to many, is that call driver is for contacting remote support.
Ah, like a remote operator.
Exactly. If the autonomous car gets stuck or has an issue it can't solve, you could potentially call a remote human assistant for help. That fits better with a fully autonomous service that just has remote oversight.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Like remote assistance, not a rideshare driver.
All right, last piece then. The trademarks. Robotaxi, CyberCab rejected. What's the significance there? Is that a big deal?
Well, the USPTO refused them, probably arguing the terms are too generic, too descriptive. You can't really trademark taxi, right? It's not necessarily the end of the road. They can appeal or try other things.
So maybe not the final word, but those names might not stick legally. They do have robus still pending, I think.
That one's still under examination, yes.
Yeah.
Look, having a catchy trademark name helps with marketing, for sure.
You'd think so. Easy recognition.
It helps initially. But honestly, whatever Tesla calls the service, if it works well and people use it, that name will become familiar. Think about terms we use now, like streaming or ride-sharing. The experience matters more than the originally trademarked brand name in the long run.
Good point. The service itself will define the name eventually.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. We've got this really interesting tension. Uber, the big established platform, playing the aggregator role, partnering with Waymo and others.
Right, leveraging their massive user base.
Versus Tesla going all in on vertical integration, designing their own cars, their own chips, potentially having a massive cost advantage because of it.
And that projected cost difference per vehicle, per mile, that really is the potential game changer. If they can pull off those low costs, it could fundamentally reshape the market.
Absolutely. It really feels like we're watching the early stages of a huge shift. So thinking about these totally different strategies, Uber as the platform, Tesla as the integrated maker and operator, it leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? Which approach do you think has the better chance for long-term success in autonomous mobility? And maybe even more importantly, beyond just the tech and the cost, what other factors, things like government regulations, public trust, building out the necessary city infrastructure, what role will those play in deciding who ultimately wins? Something to really chew on after this deep dive.